Morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
You're not with me, and it's so hard. On pins and needles, right from the start. I see you in my grandchild's eyes, and now my child is deployed and not by my side. I'm so nervous, I started to quilt. Freedom is earned, that's how this country was built. Gathered my fabric, dotting and thread, just thinking of you, it's all in my head. Thanks to our military, thank you for our brave. Thanks for all that you do, keeping us safe. They are not alone, they have families to love our troops. This quilt is dedicated to you.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, gifted crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. We've got people that tune in from all over the place, so let's say a quick hello to those I see out there. I see Lisa Lilly from Richmond, Illinois. Good morning, Becky from North Central Texas. We've got Cindy from Michigan. Let's see, we've got Jackie Hallman from Chilly, Dover. Oh boy, I guess the weather is starting to turn a little bit out there. So people are starting to get a little chilly. There's my friends from Canada. Good morning. We've got Annette from Connecticut. Good morning as well. Let's see, Leslie B from Lake Ridge, Virginia. Good morning. And we've got a Nancy out there. Hello from Boston. Oh, hello back to you. Good morning. Okay, I've skipped around a little bit, so I don't know if I missed anyone, but let's see. We've got Quilting with Harriet. Good morning, Harriet from Indiana. We've got Melissa from East Texas. Good morning. Good morning, Faker McFake. She's on this morning. And let's see, we've got a whole bunch of other people. Renee, we've got, let's see. Oh, you'll be driving and listening, dropping off for boys. Okay, crafting with the time on Shay, crafting on a dime with Shay Shay. I keep messing that one up. Good morning. How are you? All righty, let's see. Oh, we've got our Wonder Woman here. Jenny Owens, good morning to you. All righty, I think everyone is settling in. We've got Debbie, good morning. And I'm not sure if I missed Maureen. Barb, good morning. Let's see. Who else did I miss? I'm not sure who else I missed. If I did, I'm sorry. I'll try to catch you as the chat goes up. But it's another day, and today is Happy Thursday. Yay! We are almost there to the end of the week. So hang on there. All righty. Good morning from Tennessee. River Rose, good morning. Alrighty, so we've got a lot going on today. Today I want to kind of pick up some things that I picked up from the Sewing and Quilting Expo. These are some Quilts of Valor blocks where you were able to purchase them and then you sew them and then you go ahead and send them back. So that's pretty cool. And I think that that's really nice to do. We're gonna kind of do that today. There's got several blocks that you can make. And so we're gonna take a look at either one of them. I think that it's really nice to be able to be a part of that. And, you know, they're very particular on the blocks and how they're made, because if you think about it, they're getting blocks from all different places and then putting them all together to make the quilt. So I thought those were really amazing, and it'll be a lot of fun to kind of learn some of the blocks, see what instructions they have, and then we can kind of make those together. So that's what we're going to do today. But first things first, we got to have our little toast, don't we? So if you're new to the channel, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and we host these channels to just talk about anything crafty. And every time we start our live, we need to start with a little toast. So go ahead and raise your glasses of whatever it is that you have in the morning, coffee, tea, soda, water. There's no judgment here. And we're going to go ahead and make a little toast to the veterans out there, and we're gonna just do a nice toast to all the people out there that are volunteers for the Quilts of Valor, and everyone out there that makes this organization possible, because they are actually an amazing group of people. So let's give a nice toast to them. Go ahead and raise your glasses. If you don't have one, don't worry, I'm gonna pour you a cup. So let's go ahead and pour that cup, raise those glasses to all the people and volunteers out there in that organization. They do a fantastic job. So here's cheers to them. Let's grab our little swivel here. Okay, awesome. Water in the morning is just fantastic. Wakes you up, huh? Alrighty, I hope you guys had your little swivel there. Now we're ready to kind of grab our little snacks. So let's go ahead. We're gonna roll out our little food cart today. We've got to make our little exercise, stretch ourselves, and get ready to go out there and do just a little bit of exercise to grab our snacks. Now, don't worry, when we roll this out, we're gonna have everything on the cart that the food truck has, and you can grab any snack that you want. Coffee, tea, soda, water. We have muffins, croissants, bacon and eggs, pancakes, and there's birthday cake in there too. If it's somebody's birthday, let us know. So everything's on the cart. It's all free. It's all calorie free, and you get to enjoy every single bite that's on there. So go ahead and make the line and go ahead and grab your snacks and get yourself settled in your cozy little spot, because once you have all your snacks and your drink and you're ready to go, we're going to get started here. We even have, yes, we've got the fancy stuff with carrots and kale, and oh my goodness, yes, the kitties are here with their little balls of yarn, and they like to run around in the park out here. So go ahead and play with the kitties, right? We thought that would be cool. Oh, this Wonder Woman is flying to work. Oh boy. Well, Jenny, be careful out there, okay? Awesome. Alrighty. So now that we have our toast and we had our little snacks, hopefully you're in your comfy little cozy spot or a little safe place to watch. You'll celebrate somebody's birthday. Cake, please. Yes, Cindy, we'll have any excuse to have some cake, right? Some coffee crumb cake would be nice this morning, wouldn't it? Where are the birds? Well, the birds are waking up. I don't know how you guys don't hear the birds, because they are outside.
Technology.
And I know we've got the noise canceller a little bit, but man, they're out there and they are making a racket out there for the morning. You can hear them. At least I can. Oh, thank you, Maureen. You became we got a new member. Welcome to our Gifted Crafter community. Thank you so much for joining our membership. I hope you enjoy all the content and information that we give out there. We're really going to be ramping that up and giving some more information pretty soon. So Thank you for joining. Okay, let's get started here. We do have some crafting news that I want to share with you. And then we've also got the Quilts of Valor. Now, one thing I also wanted to mention, because the week kind of got a little bit delayed with the surprise and everything, it kind of threw me off schedule. But I do want to do this little quilt kit. And the quilt kit is a Moda quilt kit that I was able to pick up from the expo. And it's called Moda Love Charm Quilt is the name. And this is what the quilt would look like. It's not very, very big. It's only 32 by 32, which is a nice size. So, you know, about the size, a little bit smaller than the size of my cutting mat here. So it's not going to be a terribly huge quilt, which is nice. I was looking for something a little small, but I think it's really neat. It's a lot of half square triangles on here. And it's kind of a pretty easy, it shouldn't be too bad of a quilt to make. But you can see here, it's Moda Love Charm Quilt. This was a charm pack challenge for Moda a while back. And so I went ahead and got this, and I purchased it from Fort Mountain Quilting out at the expo. So they were at the expo and I was able to pick up the quilt kit. They gave me the backing, the binding, and a charm pack. And that's all you need to make this quilt. So we're going to be tackling this. But before we do that, I wanted to go ahead and do the Quilts of Valor so I can mail that in. So we're going to kind of just take a look at that today and maybe finish it up tomorrow. So I can mail it out over the weekend. So we will take a look at those in just a few minutes. So let's head over to our crafting news because we've got some information to share with you today. So let's see what we have for that. Okay, in Boone, North Carolina, we've got a group of neighbors that came together this week to heal through quilting. And it's been 1 year since Hurricane Helen swept through the high county, leaving behind damage, heartbreak, and memories that are hard to put into words. So instead of speaking, folks stitched their stories to fabric. Isn't that amazing? And at the gathering inside a farm cafe, people designed quilt squares that captured what they saw and felt during the storm. A creek that rose into the river, a barn that ripped apart, some roads that were torn to pieces, and even the sunset that followed. Each square told a personal story of loss, survival, and hope. And that's really amazing how a quilt can really tell a story. I think that's really beautiful. Now, the pieces all came together to form a larger project, and they called it Stories from the Storm. And it's a traveling quilt show that was planned for 2026. Organizers say that quilting gives people a way to process grief while also creating something beautiful that future generations can learn from. And I thought that was truly amazing. One quilter shared that the simple act of choosing colors and fabrics turned her memories of darkness into something brighter. And another said that the project reminded her that light truly does come after the storm. It's just amazing. I think that's a really nice way to be able to deal with situations and pour yourself into the quilt. And then it's something that really can be appreciated and just, you know, serves as a specific point in your time. You know, it's just a moment that happened, and it kind of, the quilt can kind of reflect that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Evergreen, Colorado, where we've got a quilting group called People Comforters, and they've been stitching love into their community for decades. Now, after a tragic event at Evergreen High School, they wanted students and families to feel cared in a special way. So when students returned to gather their belongings, nearly 500 flannel-backed quilts were waiting for them, each one like a handmade hug. Parents and teachers later shared a heartful bunch of thank you notes, and they let the quilters know how much the blanket meant to them. They were working out of a church basement, and the group meets twice a week. They used donated fabric, and even half-finished projects went into the quilts that brought warmth, comfort, and hope. And that's just, again, another reminder that, you know, even when you're going through the hardest times, you've got creativity and kindness and a community that can stitch things right back together. So I think that's pretty cool, and two really nice heartwarming stories that were out there, and I wanted to share. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, are you guys ready? Because we've got quite some work to do here. So when I was at the Sewing and Quilt Expo in Fredericksburg, Virginia, I visited the Quilts of Valor booth, and we also shared some pictures. I believe it was on yesterday's show that we had some people who received the quilts during the Quilts of Valor show that was going on. And so I took some pictures of that, and then I went to the booth and I purchased these, and they were only $1, guys. It's only $1. You sew the block and then you send it to the Quilts of Valor, and it gets attached to one of the quilts that get gifted over to the veterans. So it's really just a small thing that you can do. It's just a great gesture, and I think it's really a nice cause. So I'm going to open up, because it's two different ones, and I think it's two different blocks. I'm going to try not to mix them up here. I'm going to open them both so we can take a look at both of them. And I can get it out of the plastic here. There we go. Okay, so they give you all of the fabric and some instructions, and then a little card. And the card on here just gives you some basic information on here. It tells you that you can join the Quilts of Valor. You can become a member. You can make a Quilt of Valor as well. And let me see if you guys can see that. There you go. You can donate a quilt. They've got quilts, you know, you can do any color. They prefer red, white, and blue. It could be machine or hand quilted. And then they have the size that they like to specify as well. So double fold binding for durability. They're just trying to make sure that the quilt will last even after it's being washed and everything. So they do have some very specific instructions, and a lot of these are because they are taking pieces from all over the place and then putting them together. So if everyone just kind of willy-nilly did anything they wanted, they wouldn't be able to coordinate them and make them into these beautiful quilts. So the instructions are very specific, and they ask for you to follow them step by step. So we're going to try to do that, and we're going to see what kind of blocks we have here today. Oh, crafty Puerto Rican is saying hi from Puerto Rico. Awesome. Good morning. That's right. He was flying out over there. So, well, good morning to you. And thanks for joining. They must be having some nice weather over there. Hopefully not too hot. Okay. So, looks like it's different blocks, and I'm going to show you the instructions here for both. So I'm going to stick to doing the log cabin block, but I'm going to show you what the other one is, because they had all different ones that you can pick from. So this one is the 12-inch floating star pattern. Oh, nope, wrong one. There we go. It's the floating star pattern here, and they give you all of the fabric for that particular pattern. Looks a little bit different than the picture though, but you do have the red here, and we've got the blue, and then they give us some squares here as well. So I'm gonna probably not have enough time. I don't know, we'll see how much time we have, if we can do it. If not, I'll have to do this off camera, because I really want to get it out to them today. So it's just a block here, and then you have all of the fabric that they give you. So everything is given and provided A little bit of a crease on that one, so we may have to just kind of press that a little bit. Now, I did a little bit of research on these, and at least for the block that we're doing today, they do not want you to press the block, only because of the way they cut the fabric. So the way they cut their fabric is on the bias, so they don't want you to press it because they're afraid that if you press it, it will stretch. So we're going to take a look at that and see how true that is. Let's see. Marge, where did you buy your project organizer bags? I just bought the Kimberbell Enchanted Winter. So many steps. My project organizer bag, not sure which one you're talking about. If it's this one here, and I have one back here, let me know if it's this one that you're talking about. This project bag I bought from Temu, and this is the one that has all of the little pockets. I'll show it to you just briefly here. This is the one that has all of the different pockets that you can put all kinds of projects in. So I've got like some projects that are kind of lined up for me to do. So we've got one pattern here. I've got another pattern, a little quilt kit over here. Some patterns here. You have some small side pockets as well as some larger pockets. Let's see. Yeah, you've got quite a few in this bag, and it makes it very comfortable to be able to put your fabric strips on one end, your pattern and bigger blocks on the other. So these are very, very comfortable, but I bought this off of Temu, actually. I was quite surprised. I didn't think the quality was going to be all that great, but I was actually quite surprised with what I got. I thought the quality's pretty good for what I need it to be. So I went ahead and bought that, and did get that from Temu. But if you're talking about the project bag that I purchased from the expo, and that would be this one here. This one, I got it from the expo. And this one, I still have the tag on it. It's Hometown Holiday is the name. This is a vinyl zipper pouch, and it's by Lori Holt, Bee in the Bonnet. So this one, you know, very nice and big, has the lining on the inside, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff in here that I got from the expo, and it's really, really pretty. I do love Lori Holt's designs, so very, very nice. Have that one. So those are the two that I think you could be asking about. But yeah, I did get these from the expo, but you may want to just kind of Google Hometown Holiday Vinyl Zipper Pouch and see what comes up. I'm not sure who else sells it out there. Okay. All right, so getting back to this now. So that is one of the packets that I bought. So this would be one project right here. So I'm going to stick that back into the bag so I don't mix the fabrics here. Let me just put that in. There we go. Trying not to have the fabric bend on me, but okay. And we're going to be looking at this one here. That is the log cabin. And so they have very specific instructions on the log cabin, and they do diagram them out step by step. And so it's only the one side of the page that they give you, but they also give you the same card as well. So it has all the information here. Now, as I was reading the instructions on here, it indicates that they give you an envelope to mail them back in with their address on it, so you know where you have to send your block. One of my packets had it and the other one didn't. So I'm assuming that they need to be sent out to the same place. So as long as I have one address, I should be fine. I may be able to just put both quilt blocks into the one envelope and just add some extra postage on there. So this is what they have sent, and you can see here all the different pieces. You start off with your main piece that's in the middle, then you're going to just attach one on the end, and then you're kind of working kind of in the round. So you're kind of, once you've stitched this bottom, then you're kind of going counterclockwise and putting the side one. You'll be putting the top one, the side. So it's kind of like you start off and you continue going counterclockwise and adding more and more pieces until you end up with your finished block. And it seems like the finished block size is, let's see, 12.5 by 12.5. So let's take a look at the fabrics that they gave me, because I wasn't too sure. It didn't quite look right to me, but we will check to see what they gave you. So they gave you a whole bunch of strips, and she did say in one of the little videos that I saw not to iron them, and because they will have a little bit of stretch, but these kind of are in need of some ironing. I mean, the center block, if you can see here, it's really creased on all sides. So I think it really needs some really light ironing. So I just may do a little bit of a light iron just to kind of get those creases out. Other than that, it should be fine. So I think this is our center block, and we're going to put it right here in the center here to kind of mimic that square. We're going to grab my instructions here and just kind of lay it out so we can see what this looks like. Now, I'm not sure about the colors that they put on the paper, because as you can see in the paper, you've got the red, you got the white, and you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 strips of blue. And when I look at what they gave me, I have 2 strips of blue here. So I'm not sure if that's a mistake, or, maybe this pattern is not specific to the colors. So a little bit odd. And I do have this one strip where the red is a little bit different than the others. So a little odd here. I'm just not sure about this. I don't know why they would have given me this strip. It doesn't seem to tie to anything. It's a little bit different color than all the others, but we're just going to go with it and see what happens. And then we've got only 2 strips of the blue, and then we've got a number of white ones on here. So I'll lay those out as well. So a little bit odd. I'm just wondering if maybe this kit was opened before and maybe they didn't put the right things back together. I'm not sure, but like I said, we're just going to go with it and see what happens. It's a log cabin block, so we'll see. But those are all the pieces. If you guys can see all the pieces that I have here, that's everything that came in the kit. So now let's just kind of visually put this together and see what it looks like, because it's a little concerning to me about this one strip here and only having 2 blue ones. So it's kind of odd. So we will see what happens. Let's try putting this together. Okay, so we're following these instructions, and it starts with the red square. And I'm going to move this over here on the side. Okay, then it tells you to put the white underneath. So that would be about there. And you can see here when you line it up, if I line up this square and I line up the white one, you're a little bit off because of that seam allowance, but not too much off. So that's something to think about there. And then we're going to go ahead and put the next white piece that it's saying is to be here. Now you start to see the seam allowance be off just a little bit more. I don't know if you guys can see that. So if I line it up on the top, we've got, let me see if I can line this up pretty good here. We've got about, I'd say about a 1/2 inch of a gap there, which is about right because you want about a 1/4 inch seam on each side. So I'm just going to place that in the middle for right now. And then we're just going to kind of keep going. Now the top layer on the instructions, you guys can see that we've got this square, we've got that bottom and that side. So we're on number 4 and it tells you to put a blue strip and it's supposed to cover this area here. But the 2 blue strips that I have are way long and cover a lot more than that. So that's why I'm kind of wondering, did they not give me the correct strip? Because let's see, cutting instructions and picture of the block are on page 1, but it doesn't really tell you anything to cut because I think they've given you everything all cut up already. So little odd on this one. I'll have to kind of figure that one out because then the very next step is to add that blue strip going down the other side, which is supposed to be here. So it's almost like, do I cut this piece off? We'll have to see. And then I'm just going to keep on going. So, you know, sometimes these kits, you know, you get them in the expo, but people are touching and opening things, so you never know. So it's good to kind of lay it out first before you start just jumping in and sewing. So you definitely want to look at that. Yeah, the pattern is not showing zippo red strips. Yeah, Cindy, this is not, yeah. It's definitely not as hard as you think, Faker McFake. It really isn't. It's just finding your center block and then kind of working counterclockwise and putting your pieces together. I just think that they didn't give me the right pieces, which is okay. I may have something that I can substitute with. But let's go ahead and see if we could just continue on and see if we can find anything. So I may have to just cut that slip right there, even though it doesn't tell me to do that. But let's keep going and see what else we have. Next step is to put this white piece underneath. Now I'm expecting it to be a little off because you've got seam allowances, right? So that may be okay. And then you're gonna put another longer piece on. It looks like you're missing the lighter blue strip. Yeah, I think I am. I think they did not give me all the strips here. And then they gave me this white strip that doesn't quite connect all the way down. So I'm going to put this one and I'll grab the next largest size, and that would be this one. That kind of looks like it's correct here. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like something is just not right on this quilt kit. So I'm not sure that they gave me the right pieces. Maybe somebody messed with the package and pulled some things out and then they didn't put it back properly. So very, very odd, but we can try this way and we can kind of just make it our own, right? So let's see here. We're going to pull this one together here. And then we've got all these red strips, but the pattern itself has blue strips. So, so maybe they substituted it and went the other way. You have red strips there and no red strips in the picture. Exactly. So something is not right with either the instructions or with the strips that they put in the quilt block. So we just may have to make our own. And let me see if I can move this down, because it's getting to the point you guys can't see it. Here we go. Let's see. I'll have to give them a call and see what they tell me. But other than that, we can just kind of play with the strips here and see if we can kind of make our own, I guess. Yeah, we've got just way too many here that do not really add up. So, not sure about this one. Not looking too great. Little disappointing on that. Let's see here. And you can see on the picture, you know, they've got the 3 blue strips, and that doesn't quite add up here. So something is not right. I'm definitely going to have to give them a call on this one. Let's see. We're going to try to substitute some stuff here. Let's see if we can substitute, maybe we can substitute the blue for the red and see if that works. If I can do it this way. Let's see. Yeah, don't follow the picture. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of weird how this was put together. I'm not following this at all. Okay, let's do this. We're going to do what Cindy suggests. We're going to put all of them back in order again. We'll start this over. This is the longest strip, and we're going to put them in the order here of the longest to the shortest. That's probably the easiest way. So if I do that, let's move that white one out. We're going to start almost like little Christmas trees. Here's a block right here. Isn't that cool? Maybe put them in size order first, then try putting them together. Yeah, Lisa, that's what we're going to try to do here. We've got these 2 odd pieces here on the side of just the 2 blue stripes. Maybe we're just going to ignore the blue stripes and just do the red and the white and see what happens. Okay, let's try this again. So we're starting with this red square. We're putting the white underneath it here. And then we're going to go with, move this over to the side. We can do something like this. Maybe that will work. That just may do it. And then, what do you think, guys? If we can put this together, I'm going to kind of bring your own little flair to it, right? So it's kind of like, well, not really going to work the way we want it, but we're going to make it work. So here we go. If we do all of the whites on one side and maybe all of the reds on the other, even though this red is a little bit off of the color, and then we'll have to kind of do some cutting there. That may work. If we do something like this, let me bring that over a little bit. We've got to account for seam allowance here. And maybe we do something like this. Or let's see if we add these blue ones here and see what happens. See, the blue ones are shorter. We could do that. And maybe add the blue here. There we go. And then the white, I'd like to end up with this white, but it's kind of like a little puzzle. You got to kind of play with it and put things together here. So yeah, this one is a little off. I don't think they gave me the right pieces on this kit, and I'm going to have to give them a call to let them know that this kit was not put together correctly. So definitely we will have to give them a call to see what happened, because this red, I mean, it's the only red that is really off color. And you can see here, let me show you what that looks like on the cam here. So this is the red they gave me, and these are the other reds. And you can see how different they are. And we put them down on the paper so you can see them better. You think the blue ones go in between the red? We can try that. We can try that. So let's see. I'm going to bring these back. If the blue ones will go in between the red, then we'd have to go this way. and this way. Yeah, we could do that. And then just not use those two white ones. We can do it that way. That would work. We'd have these two extra white pieces, but this would work as a quilt block. It's got the red, white, and blue in it. It's just not, it's not the way the picture is set up. But I will have to ask, and it's really odd that this red fabric doesn't look like the other red fabrics. So definitely, I think someone kind of messed with this kit and probably threw in something that didn't belong. So I'm going to give them a call to just make sure of that before we put anything together. And I know, as I said, when I saw the website, they indicated that they didn't want you to press this because of the bias. And I'm just kind of checking the pieces here to see if we have any of that stretch. And you can kind of see it in some of the strips. If I stretch them a little bit, you see they kind of bend a little bit. And so, yeah, they have quite a bit of stretch on here, so I can understand why they don't want you to iron it. But they do have a lot of creases on here, so you may want to kind of just maybe steam them or something to at least get the creases out before you start. So, yeah, this is one kit I'll have to ask about, but worst case, we can go ahead with this layout and just do it that way. So, another option. If not, well, we have a quilt block that we can kind of call our own. So in terms of how you would put this together, I would, since I'm not going to go by these instructions because I don't think I have the correct pieces, but the way if you have this laid out, if you want to pull this together, again, you have to account for seam allowances. So when you're looking at your pieces, you need to make sure that the pieces that you have are going to work. Now, you're always going to start with this center block right here, right? So with this center block, if I go ahead and put these right sides together, I need to make sure that my edge is going to be completely covered. So making sure edge to edge are the same sizes, and then go ahead and do that 1/4 inch seam. And then they ask you to finger press that down. So that's going to give you one complete piece right here. Then it's almost like paper piecing, where you have to kind of orient things to make sure that the piece that you are adding is covering the entire section before you add it on and then cut it off. So what you're going to want to do is when you add that second layer, you're making sure that your fabric that you're adding on end to end is going to cover that next section. Now, when I'm laying it out like this, it's not going to cover it, but that's because I have to account for my 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you see a little bit about if I kind of do it all the way to the edge and I have it, you know, really laid out the way it should be, I'm going to have that 1/4 inch seam sticking out because I haven't sewn my two pieces. But once you do, you're going to kind of eat up that 1/4 inch seam, and then this is going to shrink down a little bit. So as this shrinks down a little bit, that means that your piece is not going to need to cover as much. So if you hit their 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll spread this out a little bit, as you work through the project and you hit that 1/4 inch seam allowance, that's going to be eaten up, and this piece that you have sewn is going to continue to kind of shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink because you keep eating away at that seam allowance. So the pieces that you're adding on when you are putting it on top is going to cover end to end, even though the pieces look smaller than what your finished item is. But once you start pulling it together and then laying it on top, you're going to see that it is going to cover it. Now, if you lay your piece on top, let's say we have already sewn this together, okay? And I'm just going to kind of lay on top a little bit. That's about a 1/4 inch seam, right? You want to make sure that, number one, did you sew it correctly and straight? You don't want to end up with a block that kind of bends a little bit. And that does happen with some people, where if they do not sew them together and straight and get that straight 1/4 inch seam, they may have wobbled a little bit and you may have some bending in it. And so some bending meaning it's straight, but it's not completely straight. This may be at actually an angle, and I'm kind of overemphasizing here, so I know you won't sew completely at an angle like this, but it may be just enough of an angle that it throws it off just a little bit. So once you are done sewing that first 1/4 inch seam, bring it back to your mat or bring out a ruler and just measure it to make sure that you've got a nice straight seam going across and that your block is completely squared off. Because if it is off just a little bit, you're going to have a little bit of that tilt. See how I've tilted that just slightly, like you could barely see that tilt. But if I bring this over to a ruler, my ruler right here is not going to be straight. And I'll see if I have one in here. It's not a straight ruler, but we can kind of use this as an example. So I'm going to put this down here. Now this is at a little bit of an angle, but you can barely see it. So let me line this up here. Okay. Can you see that? Can you see this little strip of red right here? That is because even though when you're looking at it, it seems like it's straight, but it's not. It's not. It's actually off that little bit of the slither. And that little slither is going to be throwing you off, not just on this block, but if you don't catch it and check your measurements before you add your next layer, that means your next layer is going to be off a little bit. And it's just going to continue to compound each time. And just that tiny little piece that you're off by, maybe that 1/8 of an inch, is going to continue to compound each and every time you add another block. So by the time you end up with your 12.5 inch block, you're going to notice that it is off. So very, very important to keep measuring each time. They have pictures and a YouTube video on their site. You are short on fabric. Yeah, I had a feeling I was. So that's okay. I mean, I'll give them a call. Mistakes happen. It's at an expo. People are touching things all over the place, and it's just crazy out there. So that's fine. I'll go ahead and give them a call. And if it's okay with them, I'll just add my own fabric to it if I can match the colors to it. But I'll see what they tell me when I give them a call. So I'll let you guys know tomorrow. If I can reach someone today, it'd be great. But yeah, definitely, you know, this is something that, you know, you can also make your own log cabin block and send it in. So they've got several programs that they have. They've got this one here that they give you the fabric and you know, sew it and mail it in, or you can make your own and send it in. But they have very specific requirements on, you know, the fabric choice, on the colors, and how you do it. Because remember, they are getting blocks from people from all over the place, and then they have to put it together. So if everyone's kind of willy-nilly doing their own thing, it's going to be really hard to match things up to make that quilt. So we want to help them out as much as we can to make sure that we've got these things correctly set up. So I'll give them a call. I'm sure that's something that we can work out and figure out how to do. But we'll see what happens with that. But in the meantime, if you're doing your own scrappy quilt and you are doing a log cabin, this is kind of the sewing tips that I want to share with you when you're kind of putting this together, because measuring is just so important. Did you try your new gifted machine yet? Oh, I did. I forgot to mention. So we've gotten the Gymnomi machine and we have it. I have it set off here on the side. I haven't used it yet. On Friday, we're going to reveal her name, her little home, and we're gonna do that all on Friday. I also ordered the machine oil that you need for the machine. So I have the Brother HC 1850 doesn't need oil. It's a very, you know, low budget type of machine, but it's a good little workhorse. But now this is the real deal. So we've got some real machines here. And so it requires you to oil your machine, and I don't have any sewing machine oil, but I did order it. So I'm hoping it gets here on time on Friday and we can do our first stitch with her. Yay, I'm excited about that. So I'm just waiting for the oil to come in, and then we're gonna stitch away, and we'll reveal her new name and her new place and everything. So gotta find a really good home for her because she's really heavy. She's like 32 pounds heavy. That's kind of heavy to be moving around. So with this machine, yes. Yeah, my husband, I now that I see how heavy it is, I'm like, I don't understand how he even picked up that machine, and I don't know what he did and put it under the box or whatever while I was reading the craft news and facing the wall, right? You guys remember that? You told me face the wall. Like, I didn't even realize what he was doing on that end. I was so focused on the story. Yeah, he's in a really tight space here in the corner, so I don't even know how he did it. But that machine is super, super heavy. So we've got to find a little permanent home for her. Is it 65 pounds? I thought it was 30, 32. I don't know. It's heavy. It's really heavy. It is really heavy. So we are setting things up because my tables, they've got the sides that come up, and then you've got like the latch that goes underneath. Is it 40? It's 40 pounds? Oh, he just looked it up. It's 40 pounds, guys. 40 pounds. That's a lot. So what I'm afraid, yeah, you had your spinach. So putting it here on the side with these side things that come up, and it just has like the one latch that kind of holds it together, makes me really nervous because it's such a heavy machine. I want something more sturdier. So I think we're going to kind of rearrange something here to kind of give it a little bit of more of a permanent spot. But I need something really sturdy to hold her. And I need the oil. So I'm waiting for that to come in. And then once I have that, yay, we're going to be ready to stitch away. And then hopefully we can start our new project with that one. So that'll be fun. And then we can stitch away because we've got so much to do. And guys, we're in that Halloween time. So the holidays are all around us now. So this is the time. Remember, I've been telling you, you need to start right away, because holidays are here. Now the rest of the year is just going to fly by. And before we know it, we're going to be at Christmas. So you definitely need to kind of, you know, make sure that you're keeping yourself on track with those projects. And I'm just a little bit behind. So I need to get some serious catching up to do. Yeah, it's a Janome. They're all metal. You have one too, Annette? Oh, awesome. Yay. What model number is this machine? So the new machine is the Janome 1600P. And then the one that I had here from before was the Brother HC 1850. So this one is probably going to be my carry-on machine. Maybe this is the one I can bring back and forth to my mom's. I've got the little rolling cart for that. So I can keep her in there and go back and forth with her. That would be good. And then the Janome will be a permanent one, because that's not, that one's just a little too heavy to move around. So that's going to be here. And I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm hoping that this table is going to support that machine, because it is a very fast machine. It's one of the fastest in the industry from what I read. And I'm hoping the vibration of it, I may have to get like a little mat or something to go underneath it. The vibration will be enough for this table, because I'm a little bit worried about that, because it's a pretty heavy machine. So I don't know if this table is going to be able to support it. So I'm going to try my best. We'll see what happens, but we'll go with it, right? We'll figure it out. Okay. So getting back to the block, we only have a few minutes. I just want to share the tips that I wanted to kind of show you as we do it, but hopefully we'll get this cleared away. And if this doesn't work, what I can do is just cut up some strips for us for tomorrow. I can look at the measurements, and then we can make our own block just using some scrappy fabric, and we can do that together. So on here, again, as we put this together and you start it off, you're going to do right sides together. You're going to go ahead and sew that 1/4 inch block. You're going to come back to your table and you're going to break out your ruler and you're going to make sure that your sides are good to go and everything is lined up perfectly. Once you have done that, your next piece that you are putting onto the block, since you have already eaten up that 1/4 inch seam, so let's kind of pretend that we have that all sewn together with the 1/4 inch seam, that next side should lay nicely right on top. And it should cover the sides completely. Okay, you should not see any fabric poking out from underneath, because that 1/4 inch seam, if it was sewn correctly, should be covering that. And if this was cut correctly, this should be covering that entire side. And then you can go ahead and sew that 1/4 inch seam on the side. Once again, once you're done with that, you flip that over. We will break that ruler out again and just make sure that you are squared, right? Really important. And then you'll continue to kind of go round and round on your block and do those pieces. Let's say this was the next piece. I would again put it on top, making sure that everything was covered. And then go ahead and do that one with the 1/4 inch seam. And so then you would just kind of keep going. So then we take the next one on top again, 1/4 inch seam, bringing that all the way around. And you know, maybe we can do this a little bit here. Yeah, it's kind of like there's pieces missing on here, which is a shame, but that's okay. We'll get it somehow together. But you can see how this is kind of getting put together and how it is forming itself. And all you have to do is, the key point is, after every seam, take your ruler and measure it. Put it underneath the ruler. You're checking to see if you got, number one, is it really a 1/4 inch seam that you sewed? And then number two, is my block still squared, or is it going a little bit wonky like this, right? It can easily do that if you don't sew it correctly. So you want to take out the ruler and measure it every single time to make sure that it is still squared. And then when you get towards that very end, once you have all your pieces in place, you're going to see that you're going to have a nice squared block. And so that's going to be really great, because then you're going to be able to have that 12.5 inch, and then you're going to trim anything on the outer sides that are not squared up together. So if you have a 12.5 inch squared ruler, this is the perfect project for that. You can use that to kind of do your measurements, because that'll give you the full block in the end, because that's the finished measurement that they give you on the instructions, is 12.5 inches. So you should end up with that full size block. So that's what you're going to need to do, but it's very, very easy in putting it together. Just keep thinking counterclockwise and move your way out that way, and just add the pieces as you go and measure as you go along the way to make sure you are nice and squared, okay? Don't allow yourself to kind of go off a little bit. And if you are off, take out that seam ripper and fix it, because remember, the area you have will continue to just compound as you go, and then you don't want to end up with a little wonky type of block. So definitely make sure that you do that along the way. Okay, so we're getting towards the very end. Let's go ahead and move over to our inspirational quote of the day. Okay, so today's quote of the day is, "Handmade gifts stitched with care carry love that touches lives more deeply than words could." And that's really sums up, you know, just from our crafting news today, you know, people who are, you know, going through tough times or went through something through their life that was traumatic, they're able to kind of show that through quilts, and that kind of just is a reminder that, you know, there's people out there that care about each other. And it's really nice how we can kind of express what we went through and just also see the hope of it at the end, where people kind of gather and, you know, turned that situation into something a little bit better. So definitely get, you know, something, if you have someone that's kind of going through, someone who's going through something, you know, get yourself involved a little bit and see if you can help out. Even the smallest things make just such a big difference. Okay, so tomorrow what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them a call. Hopefully I'll get an answer today. But if not, I'm going to go ahead and cut some strips from my own stash here, and we're going to put this block together tomorrow. So we're going to see how easy this is going to go, and it should go pretty quickly if we follow all of the tips. So unfortunately, the strips that they gave me are not correct, and that's okay. We'll figure something out, and I'll do something tomorrow. I'll be a little bit scrappy, and we'll see what we can pull out from our stash. So perfect opportunity to kind of use some of those stash that you have in there in your craft room. Pull out those fabrics and see which ones you're going to do. Are you going to have red, white, and blue? Are you going to do different colors? We can do all kinds of fun stuff and see what we come up with for this log cabin block. So we're going to have some fun with this tomorrow. So get all your stuff ready and be ready to go. Alrighty, guys, our hour is up. Thank you so much for all of your support, guys. I hope you appreciate, I know I appreciate a lot of the things that you guys do, and I really love that you guys are here on my sewing journey. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give the video a little thumbs up. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I hope to be crafty with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter free. Hope your day is bright.